could cost you a fortune. For starters, salon cars cost between 10,000 and 150,000 cedis, with a bus going for about $50,000 and more. But how about getting a whole Metro Mass bus for only 7,000 cedis? I'm sure it's unbelievable as it may seem, but this fact is true. Sandra Esinamapenu tells us more.
The arrival of Metro Mass buses in the country was arguably a refreshing news for the transport sector. Not only was it affordable, but a departure from the usual rickety trotro. The Metro Mass transport started operating in 2003 under President Kufuor with loans secured from the Dutch, Italian and Chinese governments.
Currently we have 1,048 buses, and these buses, on the average, you have between 750 and 800 being operational, and this is what, and we intend to, rehabilitate those currently in the workshop to augment the fleet position.
The Yonzin buses, comprising 312 single and 88 double-deckers, were the second batch of buses brought into the country. In all, 400 of these Yonzin buses, yellow in color, was purchased in 2006. Only 19 were operational in 2009. 7 years on, not a single Yonzin bus is in operation. Our investigation to find the whereabouts of the Yonzin buses revealed a heartbreaking story. This is what is left of the Ghanaian taxpayers' money. Dozens of these Yonzin buses, popularly known as Anti-Day, have been dumped close to the offices of the Food and Drugs Authority in Accra. Completely swallowed by weeds, the obvious was the missing parts. Steering wheels and seats were completely gone.
We have sold those buses because they are scrappable. We have scrapped them. As far as the money that was earned is concerned, and those things are beyond me. Like, in fact, by the rules, every 5 years, these buses that are too old and are bringing more debts must be scrapped.
Another site we discovered was at the North Industrial Area, also in Accra. For 7,000 cedis, Michael, a Nigerian scrap dealer, is a proud owner of these buses. His workers were busily tearing the buses apart for scraps. Off camera, Michael told me he purchased the buses from a third party and not Metro Mass. Business, he says, has been good. So, why should brand new buses be sold as scrap less than 5 years on the road?
We're using the Yashin for the intra-service, in other words, city operation. The heat within the traffic affected most of the engine, and that accounted for that short lifespan of the Yashins.
Don't you think that would have been ideal for government to purchase cars that could last, since we're taking loans to bring these cars into the country?
That is a government decision. That's beyond me. I don't take the decisions for the government. Every government that comes in takes a decision. The decision must be good enough for the government and not us.
Several other buses are off the road due to mechanical, clutch and engine problems. But the question is, could this be an issue of sheer negligence from the authorities, or the then government just missed it? Sandra Esinamapenu, TV3.
Well, so with 7,000 cedis, Ghana cedis, you can secure an Anti-Day bus, as in the local parlance. But interestingly, the Minister of Roads and Transport, Jifativo, has justified the sale of the Metro Mass buses at 7,000 cedis to scrap dealers. She explained most of the vehicles have outlived their economic lifespan and has become a liability to the state.
Currently operating with about 700 buses nationwide, Metro Mass began their shuffle services in 2003. Over 400 buses are currently off the road due to mechanical, electrical and clutch problems.
Because we go to almost every corner of the country, most of the roads are very bad, and by the time most of the buses come down, there are a lot of breakdowns.
But many think the problem goes beyond manufacturing defaults. The story has been from one accident to another, questioning the experience of drivers recruited by Metromars. Most of these buses have been lost to accidents.
Since the new management came, training is being emphasized. Well, more than 2,000 drivers are being retrained. I believe that if it goes on throughout the country, this thing will be curtailed.
Is that to say that the previous people were not efficient?
I can't talk for that. I don't want to talk for that.
The Yashin buses were the second fleet secured in 2009 with a loan from the Chinese government. A whopping $18.6 million was pegged to it. 3 years after, only 19 out of a total number of 400 were in use. Not a single of the Yashin is on the road now. The buses are now being sold to scrap dealers for 7,000 cedis each.
About a year or 2 years ago, the Minister of Health approached Metromars that they wanted to use their broken down and serviceable vehicles for some kind of health posts in the communities. But I think along the line they changed that plan. So there was a need for Metromars to refund whatever money was paid to them. And those vehicles can no longer be on the road. So Metromars has to come out with an idea of selling it to those who wanted to buy, so that at least they can help them to defray the cost of the refund to the Ministry of Health.
Though she could not tell us how much the buses were evaluated at, Jifar Ativo said 7,000 was just appropriate.
There is depreciation. There are no engines in it, no batteries, nothing. It's just a hollow box that you see, and I'm sure they value the vehicles before coming out to sell it at such prices.
Former Transport Minister Richard Anani shared his views.
This is a normal thing in the ministry in the public service. We know that a lot of vehicles have been bought for the public service are auctioned after usage for about 3-4 years. Okay. Why is it that we expect the buses to continue to function? And I'm going to tell you something.
Though the Minister of Transport said the buses were auctioned, most Ghanaians were unaware of the sale.
As they spend a lot of money to bring in those vehicles, they can also look at the way that they will manage to get the spare part that are needed for the cars to be used again.
It should rather be repaired and then put back on the road.
A source told us the buses were sold to some state officials who then retailed them. As to whether the $18.6 million loan has fully been paid and if Metromars made profit on these buses following their short lifespan are questions that remain unanswered.